The first and I think most important point that I want to make is the function of the NRC is not to represent the nuclear power industry. That's not your job. Whether we have more nuclear power plants or fewer is not your job. Your job, foremost, is to make sure that the nuclear power plants that we have in this country are as safe as humanly possible. My friend from Wyoming, Senator Barrasso, mentioned, he quoted the report, and he said it is unlikely, the report said unlikely, that we're going to have a Fukushima disaster in this country. Well, you know what? For the people of Vermont, and I think most people in this country, unlikely is really not quite good enough. We want to make sure that everything humanly possible that can be done is done to make sure that nuclear power and the nuclear power plants in this country are as safe as possible. Madam Chair, to the commissioners here today, it seems to me we should take note of the Associated Press is very disturbing report that recently found that the NRC and the nuclear industry have worked, and I quote, in tandem to weaken safety standards to keep aging reactors within the rules, end of quote. And in that regard, I have joined with the chair of our committee, Senator Boxer, to call for a GAO investigation of these allegations. Americans are concerned about nuclear safety not just because of the AP investigations, but because of what happened in Japan. We have 23 reactors in this country that are Mark I models, the same as the Fukushima plant. The President asked the NRC for a safety review after Japan, and the NRC's task force of senior staff did a 90-day review and laid out 12 recommendations to improve safety. They did what they were asked to do. A New York Times editorial summarized, and I quote, "The group's most important finding is that our nation's oversight of nuclear power plants is a less than rigorous patchwork of mandatory and voluntary provisions," end of quote. The task force recommendations include a no-brainer measures to test earthquake and flood resiliency and to install hardened vents to reduce the risk of hydrogen explosions. We are here today to find out what the NRC is going to do about these 12 common sense recommendations. Some people may think this is, quote unquote, government red tape. Some of us believe that, in fact, we have got to do everything we can to make sure that the impossible does not happen and that a major nuclear accident occurs in the United States. The answer, from what I am hearing up to this point from a majority of the members of the NRC, is that nothing is going to happen with regard to these recommendations. The chairman has asked the NRC to begin to move forward on all 12 recommendations within 3 months in order to fully implement new post-Fukushima regulations by 2016, and I applaud him for doing that. This does not sound very ambitious to me, yet the media reports that this time frame is apparently too ambitious for 3 of our commissioners, and I hope they dispel what I read in the media, and that is Commissioners Svinicki, Magwood, and Ostendorf. Apparently, as I understand it, they want more study and review and delay. And I happen to know, been here long enough to know what happens in this town when we, quote unquote, delay, when we want to postpone a study. It means that the issue is going to be swept under the rug, that nothing is going to happen, and to me, that is unacceptable. We need a commission focused on safety and acting on the task force recommendations in a swift and transparent manner. I believe we should all demand that the NRC commissioners today commit to start action on the safety recommendations within 3 months. Delay is not an acceptable option.